Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles, your favorite true crime podcast. I am Donnie, and with me is a man that wants everyone to know that the speed limit is different when you're listening to classic metal on the radio.
Especially on the way home.
You got that right.
Yes, sir. Crank it up and stomp it.
Yep. I just wish they'd tell the cops that.
Yeah.
They need to know that.
Yeah, they need to turn that old crappy bunch of jibber jabber off and put on some tunes and roll.
Yeah, but officer, I was listening to metal. Oh, you're free to go, sir.
Shit, Man of War? Go ahead, dude. You're
Just rock and roll, dude.
What's going on, man?
How are you?
Doing well.
Rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about today.
Yeah, we're doing a really, really cool episode, man.
Yeah, about like last week, man.
Yeah.
Wow, how about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's already come off of that.
Yeah. Ooh, crazy story.
Mm-hmm. But we're going to try to top it today.
We're going to try.
Yep. Before we get started, I want to mention our Patreon page we have.
Yeah, we knocked the dust off that thing, didn't we?
We did.
Finally crunk it up.
What we have on Patreon is our last episode with Sam Houston interview and Jim
Terry?
Yeah. And it's the full unedited version. What you get on all the platforms is a watered down version, but I put the raw audio on there, and there's a lot more information.
It's probably, what, 30 minutes more?
Yeah, about 30 minutes longer. And what happened was Sam, he had to go, and then Jim stayed on the line and explained some more things to us about the case and what was going on, and just a little bit more detail into the disappearance.
Right.
So, yeah, if you get a chance, check out our Patreon. It's not that bad. We're going to try to post some more stuff on there.
Yeah.
Help support the show.
We appreciate you, man.
Support the show in another way. You can go to the store page, get you some kind of merch, T-shirt, mug, get you something cool.
Blanket?
Yep.
Something.
And if you want to help us, too, if you want to rate and review us on Apple Podcast,
that would be wonderful.
That would help us, too, if you just want to tell somebody about us.
That'd be wonderful, too.
You can do that, too. Or just listen to us.
Everything is beautiful.
Just listen to us. Will help us.
That's right.
But we appreciate everybody listening to us.
And if you don't want to do nothing, don't do it. We don't care. We're happy to have you.
We are very happy to have all of our listeners. All right, dude. We're going to get into our story this week.
Man, I'm excited.
Yeah, this is a little bit different. Just go ahead and tell you, a little bit later in the show, we have a guest coming on. His name is Jeremy Sides.
Yes.
He's
the Nug, man.
Yeah, Exploring with the Nug on YouTube. He is a YouTuber, and he's going to join us a little bit later about a case he solved and the case we're talking about today.
That's right.
So we're trying to make full circle with this episode.
Yeah, we figured we've been doing, a lot of stories, and then we've done a couple of interviews, so we're going to do a hybrid show today.
A hybrid?
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
We got stories and interviews.
Yeah. Try to give everybody a little bit of best of both worlds.
That's right.
Here we go.
That's right.
But today, Dale, we're talking about the disappearance of Erin Foster and Jeremy Bechtel.
That's right.
Yeah, they disappeared in Sparta, Tennessee in April of 2000.
Sparta?
Yeah, Sparta.
Heat of the night?
Yeah, no, I think Sparta, heat of the night was Alabama somewhere down south.
Okay.
On down south.
Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba would have found him already.
Yeah. Erin Foster, she was born on February the 28th, 1982 in Tennessee. And Jeremy Bechtel was born just a little bit later that year, in the same year of 82. He was born in November of 82. But now Erin, she was described as a Caucasian female, blonde hair, blue eyes, about 5 foot 8 inches tall, and weighing about 115 pounds.
Very beautiful with a really bright smile.
Yeah, very cute girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she had multiple ear piercings.
Yeah.
Now Jeremy Bechtel, he was a Caucasian male, dark hair, blue eyes, and he was described as being about 5 foot 8 inches tall and weighing about 150 pounds.
He have his ears pierced too?
He had multiple ear piercings as well. And it said he was into rap music.
Rap music?
Yep. And he would often bust into a song just wherever he was at.
He bust out a rhyme?
Yeah.
Right,
bust some rhymes.
Do we know if these kids are dating, or they're just friends, or kind of both, been friends, gonna maybe dating?
Now, everything I've read and heard that they were just friends. They've been friends for a long time. And other people had said that they became a little bit more than friends.
Well, that's about the age,
Yeah.
17, 18 here.
But they were hanging out quite a bit together.
Okay.
Yeah. Get into Erin and Jeremy, Dale. Erin picked up her brother from school. This was on a Monday afternoon. It was April 3rd of 2000 when she got home, and this was on a Monday. And she had asked her mom if she could go out that night, even though it was a school night. Her mom said she could, but unfortunately a decision that she would later regret. because that was the last time she ever saw Erin, her daughter. Now, Erin went to a friend's house where she saw Jeremy, and some said this was a few friends getting together, and others just, they actually referred to it as a party. But either way, it was a get-together.
Well, you know.
Yeah. But it was also never made clear how many people were there. But it was all teenagers, meaning no adults.
Yeah, so they was all hanging out, and there's nothing specific saying about what they were doing or what they weren't.
Yes.
So, but, you know, we all been teenagers, so.
Yeah, we've all been down that road. But that evening, Jeremy called his dad, Ronnie Bechtel, to tell him he was with Erin and some other friends. And it was the last time that Ronnie would talk to his son. Now, Jeremy and Erin, they would leave that house together. It was around 10 p.m. And multiple people saw them getting into Erin's 1988 two-door Pontiac Grand Am. And they drove off together.
Okay, so they didn't go together, or do we know?
I don't know if they went together or not. I've never heard that anywhere, but I'm almost thinking they went together to this party.
Okay.
But they drove off together from the party.
So either she was taking him home or going somewhere else?
Yes, this was her car, and she was driving.
Okay.
But some of the things that happened next is pretty much a complete mystery.
Right, so nobody knows anything after basically they got home from school and went to a party and then disappeared pretty much.
Yeah. But when Erin and Jeremy were reported missing, the date of which that happened is unclear too.
Yeah.
The investigators first wrote it off as, them just being runaways.
Yeah.
Because they'd never done anything like that before. And
plus their age, it would, maybe they just took off or something.
Being 17, 18 at the time.
Get a little wild.
Yep. And investigators, they did keep an eye on their Social Security numbers, and both Erin and Jeremy's parents noted pretty quickly that neither one of them had picked up a paycheck from their job they had.
Right, so that would tell me right there they ain't running away.
No, if you're going to run away, you're going to need money.
You can at least go get your check.
And Rhonda, this was Jeremy's mother, said that neither of them had any money and dismissed the runaway theory pretty quick.
Right. She probably said the same thing I did.
Yeah, exactly. And as time passed, investigators did state that the runaway theory was less and less likely, but not impossible. And as in the case of a lot of unsolved people, especially those with no clues, rumors and sightings started to circulate.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. There was a few years later that after this, there were some tips came in from some sightings in Pensacola, Florida.
Right. I think it was reported that somebody had saw Erin in Pensacola, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, but Erin just wasn't the type just to up and run off.
No, and I think later it was actually confirmed that it was someone who looked really like her, but definitely was not her, right?
Yep.
So.
And there were some reports of seeing Erin's car. But none of that ever panned out.
I'm sure there's a lot of those.
Yep, but ultimately, the White County, Tennessee, this is a county that Sparta is in.
Right. It's kind of between Knoxville and Nashville, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the detectives there believed, all this was a look-alike situation and not Erin. But they still kept an eye on her Social Security number, and she had never renewed her driver's license.
Right. Well, this had to be years later if we're saying that, right?
Yeah. We're just sort of hitting the highlights of all this and telling the story.
Well, there ain't much more than we know.
Really, there's not. And another rumor came in that Erin's ex-boyfriend, his name was Gareth, and there was a lot of chatter around him on like some of the websites, Web Sleuth and Reddit, saying that he could have been responsible for this. He was kind of
a jealous guy or something.
Yeah.
Very
controlling of Erin and didn't want her to do certain things.
Right, but they brought him in and he was cooperative, right? And he passed a lie detector test.
Yeah.
Even though he was known to use drugs, and then he made comments about he had buried them 2 feet above other people, or I think he was being very vague and saying stuff like that, but just making people look twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there was even reports of them being murdered and put down a well.
Yeah.
And they had several wells in the area that they dug up and was looking for them.
Yeah.
And in 2019, there was another search for Jeremy and Erin that took place when a car was reported in the river.
Mm-hmm.
But this vehicle was located and it was not Erin's Pontiac Grand Am.
So another heartbreak.
Yeah. And the years went by, and the family believed that neither Erin or Jeremy were alive, and they just wouldn't have stayed away that long with no hits on their Social Security numbers or driver's license. And it was believed that Erin and Jeremy likely died shortly after they left the house that night from that party on April 3rd of year 2000.
Right.
Now, the one thing that is repeatedly stated by the locals, that there aren't a ton of water sources around this area. But there is a river called the CalfKiller River.
CalfKiller River.
Yeah. And whoever named that river, they need to let them name other stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I looked it up, and it's actually named after a Cherokee chief CalfKiller. So whoever named him should name some other stuff.
They should get to name other stuff, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know, how they come up with those names, but that one's pretty cool.
Yep. But I found it interesting. I read some places that I think it was Jeremy's family wouldn't let them search their property or anything like that, and they wouldn't even donate any DNA.
Right, to put in like a database in case they would something was to be found later. They could always go back and back check it and see if it was him. If they found remains or something in the woods or wherever, they wouldn't give up nothing to do that. And this kind of hit me as odd too.
Yeah, because there's always bodies found that they cannot identify.
Right.
If you got some DNA, you can knock that down pretty quick.
Yeah, especially, you got the body. You can always back check if somebody's put something into a database, but if you don't have nothing, you have nothing, right?
Mm-hmm. But they pretty much determined if foul play was involved and someone purposely is trying to hide both Erin and Jeremy, the car, this could count for no evidence being found. And, it's hard to hide a car.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't just
put it under the bed.
No, or pull it out behind the barn or something. But
do we know how far they lived from where this party was?
Do not know.
Okay.
But they left a friend's house together, and no one was said to have followed them as they left. And like we said, it was a school night, and they believed they were both headed back to Sparta to go home. So who could have, intercepted them between the friend's house and their house?
Yeah. And I think there's even a theory that maybe it was a drug deal gone bad. But come on, man. These are kids on school night. I don't think somebody's going to kill two kids and take their car over nothing.
Yep. And there was
had to be like some big time something.
Yeah. And there were even some thoughts of them possibly running out of gas and the wrong person crossed them and done away with them.
What the hell would you do with the car? You can't drive it.
Yep. But they even said that a car like that, they could have chopped it up and sold it in parts, and they would have never known what happened to it.
That's true, but still would have had to get it somewhere with no gas.
Yeah. All right. Now there was known to be some serial killers around at the time of their disappearance, and one of them was Charles Brandt.
You always got to bring in a serial killer.
Oh, yeah. He was a known serial killer from 1971 to 2004, but most of his victims resided in Florida, so he was kind of ruled out. And Joseph Duncan, he was a known serial killer, active from 1996 to 2005, but he killed young boys and girls mostly on the West Coast.
So how did these dudes get thrown in our conversation? One's in Florida and one's in West
Coast. But some of them were known to travel outside their area and travel long distances to make their kills.
In middle Tennessee, nowhere Tennessee.
Yeah. And just another one, mentioned another serial killer, James David Martin. He was active from 1989 to 2005, and he killed women in New York and Pennsylvania. But nothing could really link these guys to what happened to Erin and Jeremy. So
yeah, that's probably not on the list. Kind of odd.
But Dale, the case went cold, and they couldn't find anything on Erin and Jeremy.
It was like 20 years.
Yeah. And then along came a guy named Jeremy Sides.
Jeremy Sides.
Yeah, he is a YouTuber. He is a adventurer, explorer, finder of missing persons.
Apparently so.
And he took on this case to see if he could find out what happened to Jeremy and Erin.
Yeah, he sure did. And on November 24th, he was making a video, and I'll be damned if he didn't find them. Yep.
He'd been fascinated with this case, and he went up to Sparta. He lives in Georgia now. And he went up there and was in his boat with some sonar, and he found what he thought was a Pontiac Grand Am on the bottom of the river, the CalfKiller River.
Anyway, he had talked to a couple of people, give him some insight on some stuff to go look for, and he made up a plan and headed that way.
All right, Dale, we want to welcome Jeremy Sides, Exploring with the Nug. And what can I say about this guy? To me, after researching him and watching his YouTube videos, he is like he's
a hero, man.
He's an Indiana Jones to me.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I put him right up there with Indiana Jones. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you, dude.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Tell us a little bit of background on you. What got you into exploring? What was the little one thing that, hey, I want to explore?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you. It was a long journey, but I think starting out, I've always been very outdoorsy and always liked playing with the camera. And it started with metal detecting because I ended up buying a metal detector, and then I started watching some YouTube videos, and I was like, man, I wonder if I could break into this whole YouTube game. And so I just started filming with my phone, metal detecting, and it was fun. And I still metal detect, but just the heat was just draining me. And so I was like, man, maybe I should just start jumping in the creeks and metal detecting the waters.
Yeah.
And so it went to creeks, and then it just went to exploring stuff because I noticed how dirty some of these places I was going to. So I didn't even need a metal detector. I could just look around and find weird stuff. And then it progressed into bigger waters, and then I started snorkeling the rivers. And I did that for a while until I finally got certified.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just went from there. And then I met Jared from Adventures with Purpose, and we was doing the same thing around the same time. And then he started doing cars, and then evolved into missing persons.
Yeah.
And just followed. I followed along as watching his videos, and I started getting into it and learning from him. And then I went solo and solved a couple cases myself, and I figured this is where I need to be.
It's very cool.
Very cool, because I think the way I learned about you was you discovering Jeremy Bechtel and Erin Fosters' car in the river. And
yeah,
and my co-host Dale sent me the video of that, and watching you and you pull the license plate off of that, man, I got cold chills.
Yeah, when I first saw, I first discovered it was like on a TikTok. It was very short. It was you calling the sheriff, sitting in your truck, and I'm like, wow. So then after I saw that, I just kept digging until I found the whole video, and then that's when I sent it over to Donnie. I'm like, this dude is incredible.
Yeah, and then I went back and watched like all of your videos, a ton of them, just to find out about you and what you do and all your exploring expeditions.
So did you have a diving background with the Navy or no?
I did not. I was in aviation, worked on planes.
Okay.
I've always been I've always played around the water, but I wasn't certified till I started, doing YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm. So what's some of the craziest things you've discovered diving? I mean, I'm sure you go in the water and you don't expect to find what you find. What's some of the craziest things that you've found?
Oh man, well, I think the craziest thing I've ever found to date was some dentures that dated back around 1900, maybe pre-1900s.
Oh man,
wow!
And I still got those. That was just a weird find. And just yesterday, I was diving the river with a couple of my friends, and we come across a huge garbage bag. And at first I was a little nervous because I'm like, the dimensions were there. So like, man, there could be something bad in this bag.
Yeah.
But I started ripping it open and realized it was filled up with the most random items, everywhere from medical tools to jewelry, seashells, horseshoes, silverware. It was the weirdest thing. And we couldn't for like, the video won't be out for another week, but for the life of us couldn't figure out what this was about. The only thing we could think of was maybe it was it was a religious thing, and maybe somebody passed away and they like did a prayer and put all of his personal belongings in a bag or something. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff. I already posted a couple pictures of it, but definitely wild. So we ended up taking it out of the water and getting rid of it because it's like 3-4 feet deep, so somebody could easily stomp on it and take some of that nasty stuff in the foot.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good.
Yeah, I think I saw an Instagram you posted just not too long ago. You found a Tiffany silver plate under a bridge.
Oh yeah, that That was pretty cool. I'm thinking that was stolen. It was personally embroidered.
Yeah.
And that has me thinking whoever stole it, they couldn't do anything with it because it was embroidered.
Mm-hmm.
And, they'd probably get caught. So they just threw it over the bridge.
Yeah.
Right. Found the plate. And in the same spot, I found a World War II rifle on a different dive. But I remember it was the same spot because there's a chopped up motorcycle in the same area.
Oh, man.
Dump spot.
Do you ever go in the water and expect to find a body or anything like that? Does that cross your mind when you're in there?
It does now more often because of what I do with most of my time, like
Mm-hmm.
searching for missing people in cars.
Yeah.
I know there's a possibility that one of these days I might come across a body or bones. So it's in the back of my mind, especially when I swim up on a large garbage bag. I'm kind of mentally preparing myself for the worst.
Yeah.
But it hasn't happened yet, but there have been bodies found in the same bodies of water that we've been swimming in.
Mm.
So they were there, we just didn't come across them. And then a week later, all of a sudden somebody finds a body in the river. And I'm like, man, we was just there. We just didn't see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you guys get ready to go out, how do you determine where you go? I know you said that you look on the Charlie Project, but how do you determine which ones you think you're going to go on? Kind of give us a little insight on your planning here.
Well, we do get a lot of tips now ever since the Bechtel, Erin Foster and Jeremy case. That boosts my channel, and now I get lots of attention. So I get lots of Facebook messages, people asking for help, and we try to help out everybody. 90% of the cases are just 1 in a million shot.
Right.
But I mean, if we're around the area, you can make it happen. Sometimes we'll just go out looking for bones, and sometimes we're looking for cars. Sometimes they're not even in the water. I'm starting to venture off a little bit where somebody went missing going hiking. So I'm gonna try to help out the best I can, but literally all we're doing is trying to retrace their steps and see if we can come across them.
Right.
But
now, the car, that's not the first one you found. You found several before this, haven't you?
Well, we found tons of cars everywhere, but the first person that I found missing was an old lady in Tennessee, also in a neighboring town. And it was suspected suicide, but she was been in the water for 17 years, right off the bank, right there in town. And I found her, and then I guess it was maybe 3 weeks later, I ended up finding the teenagers.
Right. So when you find a car like that, do you ever look inside, or you just do the tag and call authorities?
I mean,
because I was curious when I was watching, when they pulled the Erin and Jeremy car out, because it goes basically from you doing that to pulling the car out and all the windows are bursted out, and it's like, what happened in between there?
Well, the reason that I got that question a lot, it wasn't the best recovery process, and I didn't have anything to do with it.
Right.
But looking back, maybe I should have helped. But when they was pulling that car out, they flipped the car upside down and busted all the windows out.
Oh. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, when they pulled the car out, they had to go back the next day and comb the river to make sure they got all the remains from the teenagers, because they lost some in the river.
Wow.
Yeah.
Put any of that in the video. I didn't want them to make them look too bad.
Yeah, I like how when you called the sheriff and he goes, "Don't call anybody else," and then he shows up and he makes a call and goes, "Yes, we've found the car." And I'm like, wait, no, we do this. I think Jeremy found the car.
Yeah, there's that. I heard a lot from that sheriff, from the locals that live in that county. He doesn't sound like he's liked too much, but he keeps getting voted into office. But yeah, I noticed he was telling people that he guided me on where to look, and he told me I was looking in the wrong spot, and that was all false. The first time I ever spoke to that guy was on the phone when I called him and told him I found him. Oh,
wow. Yeah, and I heard today actually somebody was looking in 2019 in basically the same river where you found the car. How close was that car that they found in the one that you actually found? Do you know? Somebody had
which case was that?
The same case, but somebody had looked for a car in 2019 and they had actually found a car, but it wasn't the correct one. And I was wondering how close that one was to the Grand Am.
Oh, that no, that was in a different body of water. That was out of the lake.
Yeah, okay.
So they said they searched the river, but not the whole river. So only the boat ramp. But
Oh, okay.
My theory behind it was if there was any place like a 1 in a million shot that a car could crash, I want to look. So I just ended up starting at the boat ramp and just started cruising the whole thing. And then right where there's a curve on the road, that's where I found them. So I was like, there probably was no guardrail there back in 20 years ago. So they just drove right off the road. Nobody saw it.
Wow, how sad, man.
I had so many questions going into this. When we do research for cases, and we do a lot of true crime, and we look at weather forecast or weather conditions from previous years. Do you happen to know what the weather was that night that Jeremy and Erin went off the bank into the river?
Did you go back that far?
I couldn't tell you for sure, but I think I heard that it was a rainy night, so the roads could have been slick.
Yeah.
Right, and them leaving the party, you never know.
But yeah, I remember when I was, because they was the same age as me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I know how I was when I was, back in 2000. I drove like a bat out of hell, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they might have just been out living life, and they just lost control of their car.
Right.
Mm-hmm. When you decide to do a case or look for a missing person, what is the criteria you use to say, hey, I'm going to look for John Doe here, or I'm going to look for Sally Doe over here? What do you base all this on, as far as deciding on which person you're going to look for?
I personally don't really have much criteria. It's just my skill level.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's missing and like the hiking aspect of it, I don't have any special skills that anybody else, couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to water, like I'm really good at staring at the sonar and scuba diving. So like I have those skills. So mainly like if it's water related, somebody went missing in their car. Yeah, I don't have a criteria, but definitely if it's water related, I tend to steer that way.
Okay.
Because I just have more skills and gear to help me look in water.
I just didn't know if it was something like a real old case and you didn't think it would be fruitful for you to go looking for this person. I just didn't know if that would, but stuff like it would cross your mind when you would decide to go look for someone.
Like the older cases are harder, but we just recently went to Pennsylvania to search for a gentleman that went missing in 1965. And it was another one of those stories. He left work, he was going home, lived 2.5 miles away, and vanished. And this town is surrounded by 2 big rivers. So me and Adam went there for a couple days searching the rivers. We found a couple cars. Wasn't him, but it was still worth a shot, because if he did end up in the river, we might be able to see his truck. But that long ago, chances are it's rusted away.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you talked to Jeremy Bechtel's parents or Erin Fosters' living relatives? Have you talked to any of them? Have they reached out to you after discovering them?
They did reach out. We chatted over emails. Never met each other face to face or on the phone or anything. It just never happened. But they did reach out and write me some emails, tell me how thankful they were that I could bring them some closure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, man. So have you ever had any scary moments down there?
Couple, but it's mainly just like if my only problem is if I ever have an adrenaline dump underwater, like if something startles me.
Right.
You start breathing too fast, underwater. You'll start hyperventilating, but not really. Usually I try just to chill and stay calm. I've gotten really good at it now. I even dive in zero visibility water, so it's just. I guess just staying calm, but no real big scares yet. Just a couple startles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. We were watching that video, and you must have a really nice sonar and some stuff, because when you went over that Grand Am, dude, and you could just tell exactly what it was. I bet you had a really big rush right then, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I was all but 100% that I knew that was them, just because that sonar shot was perfect.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The car is a unique shape, so I was like, this. I was confident when I was about to dive. That was just a formality, because I knew that was them.
Yeah. I was watching your video and I saw the sonar, the Grand Am with the squared off front and the squared off back end. I was like, yeah, that's a Grand Am. I mean, there's no question about it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then you go, well, I got to wait and come back tomorrow. How hard is that to have to wait and come back tomorrow?
It was pretty tough because I camped out in my van, like at like Walmart parking lot, and I just laid there thinking the whole night. I was like, man, I can't wait. And, like the second the sun rose, I was already out on the river. So it was like, sun wasn't even up yet, and I was already setting the boat up, ready to go dive.
I'll bet so. That was incredible. When you came up and you said, man, they're going home, it just gave me so many chills. I was like, this dude is amazing.
Now, when you were looking for Jeremy and Erin, I mean, you searched a couple other places. What?
Yeah, I actually started on the like opposite side of, because like the word was like, what I've been hearing is they left a party, and they like this house where this party was at was like smack dab in the middle of a lake, and then the town in Tennessee, Sparta.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just decided to go look in the lakes first, and I ended up finding a car in the lake and dove on it, and it wasn't theirs. And then I got in touch with one of her a friend of theirs, and on Facebook, and we chatted back and forth, and she said, you should go check out these spots. We used to go there when we was young to party. And I was like, all right. So like that's what like the video where I found them, the first two locations was spots where like Jeremy would go fishing, and where like a bunch of kids would go camp out and drink beer. And when I didn't find them there, I was like, well, I'll go into town and start searching the river. And that was my last spot. I was like, if I can't find them here, I don't know where they're at. And that's where I found them.
Wow. So I got a question. When you say you find a lot of cars, is there a reason that they don't ever pull these cars out? Are they too hard to get them in there? Or they just don't worry about it? Is there not like a environmental impact, I guess, which is probably long gone by the time you find them? But it's kind of odd to me that you find so many cars that are never pulled out.
It's hit or miss depending on where we're at. It costs their city a lot. Like I think one guy quoted me, he's like it costs us $10,000 to get a car out of the river after it's all said and done.
Oh wow!
With wages and hazard pay, and then the tow truck and all that stuff. So a lot of places just can't afford it. So if the car is not linked to a missing person or stolen or some kind of crime, they'll either leave it or they'll use it as like a training day for their dive teams and remove it.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, there's like a lot of places won't do it. So like we've actually invested in our own tow truck. So when we find these cars, if they're not a missing person car and we just find a junk car, we're gonna start pulling them ourselves and then call the police. So now we have it out of the water, and I don't know how that's gonna work. Like I don't know if they'll be happy or not, but we're still gonna do it anyways.
Yeah, ask for forgiveness later. Go ahead and do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't belong in the water. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, it's just oil, gas, plastic.
Right.
Like
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So you call up the cops. Say, hey, we just pulled this car out of the river. Come and get it.
And that's what some cops have told us. Like, well, our investigation starts when you call us. So technically, I'm not breaking any rules. I'm just pulling a piece of trash out of the river.
This is true. Yeah.
So if you find like guns and stuff, do you call authorities right away to? Like if you just happen to run across a handgun or something while you're searching?
I used to. We don't really call anybody anymore unless you can see serial numbers on the guns. If they're just rusted away,
there's no point. Right?
Cops can't do anything with them anyways. And they've actually told us, like, if you can't see any serial numbers, don't bother calling us because there's nothing we can do.
Oh wow.
So
I guess it makes sense in a way. But.
Yeah, I got a pile of old guns sitting here at the house that I never turned in because I knew there's nothing they could do with it.
Yeah.
So I made mantle pieces out of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So are you still in Georgia? That's where you're from?
Yeah, I live north of Atlanta.
Okay.
We're just a couple of North Carolina boys.
It was about 4 hours up the road there.
Oh yeah, I got a couple buddies in North Carolina, and Adam lives up in South Carolina.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got some. Go ahead.
So we drive all over the place though. So.
What's the furthest you've ever went to look for a missing person?
This summer I went all the way to Idaho.
Okay.
And then we made our way back working cases all along the way.
When you guys go together, do you guys go on that same small little boat, or you both is it like dual boat searching, or what? You do it different ways depending on the case?
Well, we have a bass boat now that a viewer donated to us. So we usually go out on that and run sonar in it all day. and then kind of use it as just like a mobile station. So like if we find a car, we'll have all our dive gear with us, and we'll just throw an anchor and dive the car and see what it is, and then go from there.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. And it's pretty cool for somebody doing that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So does diving have to be involved when you go for looking for a missing person, or do you take on any cases of, where there's not diving involved?
I mean, I will take on a case, but most of the time, I want to include diving because I don't know, it's fun, the experience, and then people like watching the underwater footage of diving on cars.
Yeah, I
get it. So is this what you guys do full time now, or do you have another gimmick going, or I guess
full time? Been full time for over a year, maybe a couple of years now.
Oh, what an awesome job!
Yeah, very, very jealous.
Yeah, well, cool.
It took a while. It took about 5 years of running, pretty much doing YouTube and working a full time job. So it was definitely it was trying, but about 5 years later, it got to the point where I was like, maybe I could make this work.
Right.
Yeah.
Just place.
We've been doing a podcast for about 2.5 years, so we got just maybe 2.5 more years to go.
Yeah.
I mean, just find something that people want to listen to, and it'll grow.
Yeah. Yeah, we do a lot of true crime, missing persons, unsolved stuff. So,
it's a hot niche right now.
Yeah, we really have a lot of fun doing it, especially when we get to talk to people like you, man. It makes it all worth it. It's really cool. Because, hell, you got, 423,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel and 40 million views, almost 41. It's pretty good, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still hard to process because I'm like, I don't know. I never thought I'd get that big, to be honest with you. But once I found the teenagers, like the channel, it's like that was the defining moment where I know, like, okay, I could make this work financially because the channel like quadrupled in size in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, well that helped.
Yeah, being the hero of White County.
Oh,
have you been back up there? Because I noticed in the video you went back and you placed one of your coins there at the spot where they were found. Have you been back up there, or is that the last time you went to White County?
I've been up there a few times. I didn't let anybody know, but there's a cluster of missing people in Tennessee around that county. So like I'm always in that area a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've covered several missing people from up in Tennessee, that area, and it's just unreal the amount we've done. Yeah,
right.
It's weird. It's like in that county too. There's a cluster of missing people, and it makes me worried because I've heard rumors, that the police department's corrupt, and so like I don't want to step on anybody's feet and end up missing myself. So like I tend to go under the radar and don't let anybody know I'm in town.
Smart,
but
very, very, very smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to become another missing person.
I'm just a guy showing up with a boat.
Yeah,
that's it.
Oh yeah, but now like if I go there, like when I went there and I stopped by the little memorial they set up, cop drove by and he stopped and recognized me. So I was like, well, I guess I better hide my face. But he was nice. He was cool. He was just like, oh, you did a good job. And I was like, I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. That was awesome.
So where are you headed to next, Jeremy? What's
on your future?
What's on the future for Jeremy?
Well, we got the tow truck, and we haven't made any videos with it yet. So I think we are going to go somewhere close, but I think we're going to go to Tennessee next, back up where I found the old lady that I found missing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that river still has a bunch of cars in it. And so we're going to start pulling the cars out and seeing if we can figure out the story of these cars. Like, for instance, there's an old 60s model GTO underwater right there. And I think it'd be fun to pull it out and then hose it out to see if we can find any personal belongings in it. And then kind of piece together a story on why the car ended up in the river.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, you could like tell a story in retrospect. Find the car and go backwards, yeah.
Yeah.
A little more fun with it, and because I don't think anybody's doing that. Like, I don't think anybody owns their own tow truck.
No, not that I know of. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I know a guy, but he's not diving. I can guarantee that.
That'd be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Jeremy, we appreciate you being on the show today. we'd like to send you some stuff, maybe a T-shirt and some other stuff if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Love to have it.
Yeah, we'll send you a shirt. I think Dale's been chatting with you. We'll
get you information.
If you don't mind sending him your shipping address, and we'll send you some goodies out and all that. And when on our show notes, we'll put a link to your YouTube channel and your website, and in the show notes and everything, to give you some credit and give you more exposure and attention to what you do.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, because when Dale showed me your video of finding Jeremy and Erin, man, I was starstruck. I mean, we got to get this guy on the show. We got to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit about what he does.
Awesome. I hope I can keep going.
Yeah.
Find some more people.
All right. We just had a big interview with Exploring with the Nug, Jeremy Sides. Man, we appreciate you, dude.
Thanks for your time, brother.
No problem. I appreciate it.
I'll be in touch.
All right, Dale, again, we want to thank Jeremy Sides for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for your time, man.
Man, because, he is a big-time YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Tons of followers, lots of stuff going on, lots of adventures he's going on, and we appreciate him being on the show and taking a little bit of time to tell us what he does and just a little bit of background on the Jeremy.
Yeah, that was
Bechtel
a fun interview. It wasn't detailed, killed to death on everything. It was a little bit of everything, but it was really cool to hear what he does and how he does it, and what he does is pretty damn cool. To go in there and solve the 20-year-old cold case to let people know what happened, after all that stuff, and everybody theorizing about all this craziness. And it was just simply a case of something either lost control or who knows what, but they were right there the whole time.
Yeah, right there under their nose.
Just like 10 to 13 feet of water right off the road.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great story, man. I'm glad we could make full circle on this one. And
if you haven't seen the video, go watch it now.
Yeah, the episode link and the link to his website will be in the show notes, and we'll put it on our socials too.
Yes, very much.
All right, Dale, we are going to get out of here.
Let's roll.
We want everyone to be safe, be careful, and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is the Crack House Chronicles.